Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we head to Brazil for the Brazilian Grand Prix at Sao Paulo, a very exciting race on the way, and we as well had an announcement coming into this weekend regarding the future of Carlos Sainz, which is finally confirmed, and it's a bit of a disappointment for fellow Canadian Lance Stroll. It is confirmed Stroll will be stepping down into a manager role within Aston Martin going forward, and Carlos Sainz will be partnered alongside his idol Fernando Alonso at Aston Martin next season. Sainz to Aston Martin. It was highly speculated he was going to be going to Red Bull in recent episodes. That is not the case. He will head to Aston Martin, and now the question is, what does Red Bull do? Do they keep Perez on? Do they maybe bring up Yuki Tsunoda? Do they look elsewhere? That's really the big question now, of course, and really the lone seat, of course, left up for grabs if Perez is not back next season, which is still a possibility. He could be at Red Bull next season. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, of course, everything else is pretty well determined except for that situation. We know the rookies that we got coming in next season. Aiden Jackson just confirmed last episode to be headed to Mercedes, and that's going to be an exciting one to watch as he'll be going up against Ollie Behrman in the Haas. Of course, the Mercedes likely going to be way better even with the regulation changes than the Haas car. Nonetheless, it's still going to be an exciting, I think, battle to watch here. Now, I apologize for the break between episodes. I got sick, and I'm feeling a lot better now, and we're back rolling. But this video will be going out Monday. The next video probably won't be going out till Friday. But then after that, I've actually got a laptop now. So with some of the traveling I've been doing recently, I can now edit videos, and I'm going to be able to get videos going out a lot quicker now. So I think you guys will be very happy with the consistency that you start to see likely rolling into next week. So stay tuned on that. As we come through into qualifying now, my first lap of Q1 I invalidated, so we are going to have to go and make a second lap here on the board. And looking for the speed here now, of course, green in sector 1, trying to get into that top 15 right now. Devin Butler, Liam Lawson, Casper Ackerman in his final Brazilian Grand Prix weekend, Nico Hulkenberg there all in front of us as we round the final turn, heading down the front straightaway. Didn't have a lap time to base what I was doing off of, and we only end up P16, which means we are not going to advance into Q2, so lacking a little bit of pace. Albon only P15 as we drop to 17th, and we would both end up dropping down the order, and as well, unfortunately, both end up out in Q1. Albon P17, myself P19, Ackerman at the bottom of the grid. So we are lacking a little bit of pace coming into this weekend. Let's see what we can do Sunday with some rainy conditions.
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and just 4 years later, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 left turns and 6 right turns for a total of 15 corners. It's a wet one today as well, so grip and visibility will be at a premium, and the drivers will need to be careful coming up the hill in sector 3, the scene of many an accident over the years. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Sainz, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Stroll, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Norris, Ocon, Butler, Albon, Hulkenberg, Golden Boy, and Casper Ackerman rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
So then, it is going to be starting on intermediate compound tires. Looks like the rain will get heavier at one point and then as well stop late in the Grand Prix. That's going to be an interesting one. Who's going to get the strategy right as we get ready to roll?
Right then, the formation lap has started, and I must say the weather conditions aren't the best today for visibility and for grip. As each driver performs this lap, they'll be wanting to settle in and concentrate, as this race, in these conditions, will require a lot of focus.
Everybody obviously starting on the Inters. Leclerc and Ferrari look to get a little bit closer to Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship with 4 races remaining on the season.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Right, guys, not where we want to be this weekend, you know, with compared to where we've been recently, but I don't see why we can't use the weather to our advantage.
Be patient on those tyres. We can score a great result today.
So ready to go from the back of the grid, but yeah, not really too concerned because I know that this weather gives us an opportunity to carve our way through this field. I do believe we got a car that is capable of finishing in the points, really depending on how long the rain lasts for. Hopefully longer than it is short. As we get ready to go racing here, 5 red lights. Charles Leclerc leads the field to green. We're racing here from Brazil. Verstappen, Perez a little further down the order here to start this Grand Prix. Leclerc covers off the Mercedes into turn 1. George Russell trying to go the long way around. Can he sneak up the inside through turn 2? Yes, he can, but it doesn't last. Sainz in third. We know his future in Formula 1 is with Aston Martin, and we now know Stroll in his final few races as a Formula 1 driver before stepping into a manager role within the team going forwards. Now, Fernando Alonso, of course, his future is secure at Aston Martin. Aston Martin as well at the top of the R&D coming into this weekend, but we're not really seeing it replicated on the leaderboard. It's Ferrari, it's Mercedes taking up the first 4 positions right now with Leclerc, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton to follow. Lewis Hamilton got to be excited heading to Ferrari next season. Of course, 1 win this season for Hamilton, a few more for George Russell. His teammates definitely outdone him this season, just like real life, of course, but we see it often in real life when a driver is leaving a team. It doesn't matter what your status is. You could be a 7-time world champion, one of the best of all time. The team's still not going to treat you right when you are leaving, and your teammate is going to have an obvious advantage for that entire season. As we continue following behind our teammate of Alex Albon, we gain a few spots in this opening lap. Now P17 behind P16 as Leclerc comes through to lead this first and opening lap. Ferrari and Leclerc have been making some strategy blunders over the last couple of episodes, which have costed them some points to close in on Red Bull and the constructors, but today the strategy is pretty straightforward, so they should be able to nail this one, I would imagine now, and they have already got an early advantage over Red Bull as we're slipping and sliding around this circuit now, seeing some side-by-side battles in front of us between Esteban Ocon. I can't quite make out who that is right there. Is that Lando Norris on his left side? Yes, it is Lando Norris in the McLaren, starting a little bit further down the order. A bit of a slip and slide for myself. We save it right there on the nose of the Rookie of the Year contender against myself, Devin Butler, and we are currently in control of the Rookie of the Year battle as we continue to slip and slide as we start lap 3, losing some ground, but fortunately through the kind of end of sector 1 all the way through sector 2, we are really able to gain some time on our competitors. That's where we're really quick on this circuit compared to everybody else right now, and that's where the difference is going to be, I think, made up for us today. And you're going to see through the just throughout sector 2, I'm able to reel Alex Albon right back on in as he's just behind Esteban Ocon, who's been overtaken by Lando Norris, who's trying to move his way forward. We are seeing kind of similar to real life, you know, which is great in this 2024 season. You know, some teams are looking really good some weeks, like Ferrari's at the top, and then the next week they're, you know, the 4th quickest car behind Mercedes, Red Bull, and whatnot. So, and McLaren, and then of course we see McLaren pop off 1 week. We saw Lando Norris pick up the win in Circuit of the Americas here in the career mode. Of course, 3 wins for McLaren this season, with Norris with 1, Piastri with 2, as we're all over the back of Alex Albon looking for the lead, or the lead, P16. The lead in the Williams driver battle, at least here now, as Esteban Ocon continues P15 behind that 14th place Lando Norris. Overtaking not easy, but we're going to try and make it easy. Up the inside here of Alex Albon, he's not going to make it the most difficult overtake on me. We get past him. It's pretty blatant that we've got the pace to be going forward, and I think Alex realizes that, and he's not making it too difficult on us. So we move up into P16, and right off the bat, we're going to try to start put some pressure on the back of the Frenchman of Esteban Ocon. As I'm recording this video, it was just announced Ocon will not be in for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and Alpine are parting ways with him a week early. Very unfortunate kind of ending for the Ocon and Alpine story, but up the inside we go of the Frenchman now, and we'll get the pass made on Ocon. Not too hard of a pass pass there up into P15. Lando Norris, you're next now as he's struggling to get past Liam Lawson. The rain is getting heavier as these laps go on. You can see now Norris making a move up the inside of Liam Lawson, but look how heavy this rain has gotten. This is going to be the opportunity for maybe some strategy differences. Is somebody going to come in to maybe put on the wet compound tire, putting some pressure on the back of Liam Lawson of only a few races under his belt this season, and now up the inside we go of him looking for the position gain. We nearly run him a little bit wide, we slide, we take the position. Now he's under pressure from Esteban Ocon as well as he's going backwards in that V-carb. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda desperately trying to prove that, hey, I belong in the Red Bull pipeline. Put me in the Red Bull next season in place of Sergio Perez. He runs up there in P12. Perez's future is on the line. He needs to step it up and produce a Constructors Championship for Red Bull as we slip it a little bit right there. And at the end of this lap, Liam Lawson is going to come into the pits and bring, it looks like, Nico Hulkenberg with them. They're actually putting on the wet compound tires. So we are seeing drivers pit for wets. You can see how heavy the rain is, but we're going to stay out on these inters. It's a very brief period of wet weather tire kind of, conditions out here. So we should be able to hang on, but it's not over. We got more drivers pitting. Lewis Hamilton's in. Oscar Piastri's in as well. Sergio Perez is in for the wet compound tire. I think this is the wrong move. I think all of these guys are screwing themselves over for the long term in this Grand Prix, and that's crucial for Red Bull and Perez because he's a part of that conversation. Hamilton, Perez, Piastri, top 10 runners, all just, I believe, made the wrong strategy call. I could be wrong. We'll wait and see how long this period of wet weather lasts, but it wasn't looking very long in the race strategy pre-race when we were sitting in the car on the grid. I do believe that's the wrong way to go, and we are going to commit to this intermediate compound tire strategy and just run it long. As you can see, lap 10, we're all over the back of Lando Norris, who's struggling to get an opportunity to pass Yuki Tsunoda, as well as Valtteri Bottas putting his Sauber kick up inside the points right now. A great run for him as we're trying to stick with Norris down the front straightaway. This is where the AI can kind of outpace me on that front straightaway now. As you can see, some battles right there in front of us. Tsunoda was looking for an opportunity up the inside of Valtteri Bottas, couldn't quite make it happen as we're still slipping and sliding. The rain is still just coming down hard, but it's just not enough, in my opinion, right now to last long enough to be able to come in and say, okay, let's warrant putting on that wet compound tire and we'll make up a difference right now. But I can see as we make a move up the inside of Norris now that Perez, Piastri, and Hamilton have all run down the back of this grid, so the wets are definitely quicker, but will it pay off long term? As now we're going to try and look for a move on Yuki Tsunoda on the exit of the final turn. We slide nearly head on into the barrier. We save it, lacking grip massively, and that nearly ended our race. And of course, Lando Norris is going to have the forward going momentum, and he's going to get up the inside, but we're going to try and fight back on the outside here in a turn one. Not going to make it easy on the British driver. We stay ahead of Lando Norris, but we slip and slide a little bit more. Is he going to have an opportunity as we head down to the DRS straight with, of course, no DRS? We slide again. We save it. Norris fights back to the right side. He's going to get back in front. Back down to P11 we go as we've gone from the back of the grid up to P11. Of course, it helps with the several drivers that have pitted as we continue to try and carve our way forward. Now, as once again, though, all the way on the back of Lando Norris, he just can't get away because of Tsunoda and Bottas, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to make a move again. Up the inside of Norris, try to retake that P10, and we get the job done. We take it now, back into the points we go, and now we can try to put that fight to Yuki Tsunoda immediately. We're tucked right up behind that rear wing, can't quite get on the throttle like he could right there, so he opens up the gap by about a car length or two, and we just got to be patient. That's the big thing now as we come towards lap 14, and now we got some drivers pitting. It's Piastri, it's Hamilton, and Perez. They're getting rid of the wets. They're going back onto the intermediates, and that confirms it right there. That indeed was the wrong way to go. They're taking off the wets. Inters go back on. Lawson and Hulkenberg have done the same thing as well. They are now a full pit stop behind as we put some pressure on the back of Yuki Tsunoda. He's in defense mode, and we're in full-blown offense into P9. The Japanese driver drops down to P10. We are putting on a clinic, a Max Verstappen-esque drive here in the wet, moving our way forward, carving our way through the grid into the back now. Valtteri Bottas, we even look look to the right side towards the end of the lap. We're not far away from our pit window as well. We will be pitting very, very soon here to get on another set of inters. And of course, at that point, it's all going to be about, okay, when does the rain come to an end? As now we look to the inside of Bottas, who's struggling a little bit more than I am for a grip. We're going to drag race down this front straightaway. He lifts a little bit now using our overtake, but Bottas has got some straight line speed. It's continuous drag racing down this front straightaway towards turn 1. Who's going to lift first? It's going to be Bottas. We take the position through turns 1 and 2. Another spot gain, and now up into the 8th position as we actually get a warning for exceeding track limits, but Bottas is far from done. He's got the run, he's got the slipstream, he's going to fight back up my inside here. I want the right side here into this left-hander, but we've outbraked ourselves. We go wide, we slide, save it. Bottas back through. What a race we're having here in Brazil. The racing is fantastic. Driver errors, of course, is expected in these kinds of conditions as the rain has let up significantly, but it's still a treacherous circuit. A late move up the inside of Bottas here on lap 16, and again, back through into P8. Let's try to run away now and set the pace. Lando Norris, however, would be able to get past Valtteri Bottas momentarily, and now he was back up into P9, and I do believe Norris has got a good pace and a better pace than me. He just couldn't, of course, show it because he was stuck behind Tsunoda and Bottas, and I was able to take advantage of him at that point. But now that he has gotten past those guys, he is reeling me in. He's only a second behind. He was 1.7 seconds just a few moments ago. Pit window is about to open, and we're actually going to be pitting this lap here, lap 18. The leader of Charles Leclerc is going to be coming in right now. So Russell and Sainz go through into P1, P2. Verstappen as well is in on the set of inters. They'll be taking off and putting on, and I am coming into the pits as well, and we'll do the same exact strategy. And now it's just a waiting game. When is this rain going to end? Of course, we're going to be setting the best pace we can, but we do have to at least be mindful that we could be on these inters until the end of the Grand Prix. So if that is, of course, the situation, we don't want to drive too hard on these inters. But yeah, it's really just a waiting game and just seeing what happens with the track conditions. But we get back on to the racing surface now, and we'll drive as quick as we possibly can, getting back up to racing speed and onto the racing track. Lando Norris is the one that I am definitely concerned about. He's definitely got the pace to outrun us and pass us. But of course, it's all going to come down to traffic, and there's going to be a lot of variables here now, but I think he's definitely got more pace than myself, so I wouldn't be surprised if he runs us down and passes us. And sure enough, as we came through a lap later, passing a bunch of other guys that had just now started to make their pit stops, and Lando Norris is very much here, actually, right up on my back wing as we come through these first couple of corners. Now he's going to have a run as we head down this straightaway towards that turn 4, and look at the run he's got. Actually, it's not even going to be a contest. Norris going to breeze past me there, so not much I could do on that one. I mean, the McLaren, of course, downright faster than the Williams now, but you can see as the laps go on, lap 21, he opens up the gap by over a second. We got over a 2-second advantage to Valtteri Bottas, 3 seconds to Yuki Tsunoda down there in P14, as we just continue to run the best pace we can and hope that the rain ends at some point and we can maybe have an opportunity to throw a bit of a curveball in strategy. Looking at the track map right now, you can see it's Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, and Sainz, your top 4 by a long margin. They are long gone from everybody. And then, of course, you got Oscar Piastri to follow with Fernando Alonso just behind. But we're coming up on this train, including Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez, who are on older intermediate tires, so their pace is not very good. And you got Lando Norris just in front of myself. And then, of course, you got Lance Stroll up in that group with Pierre Gasly as well behind that grouping of Hamilton and Perez. They've got no pace. They are in trouble because they are trying to, I think, go to the end of this Grand Prix, but they're going to be struggling for pace right to the very end. So Norris and myself, we're running down this train of cars. This is going to get interesting because we both got to find a way to carve our way through this field, and so far we're not seeing Stroll and Gasly do it, but can Norris do it? I think we can do it. I think we are the one to pay attention to. We are the one that's going to be able to be dangerous right here now, as we are approaching 11 laps to go when we come back to the stripe this time by. And as we hit that lap 26 marker, you got Stroll, Gasly, Norris right here in front of us. Stroll self-spins on the exit of turn 1 just off the news. He will be stepping down from racing duty at Aston Martin at the end of the season. Well, the pressure doesn't seem to be off because he's made a mistake, a self-inflicted error. No safety car. We continue on, and it's a free spot for us. We're only one spot out of the points, and we know we can get Perez, we know we can get Hamilton. They are on old tires now, but with 10 laps to go, we're going to go through the grid.
Charles Leclerc out in front by 5 seconds over Max Verstappen. Ferrari is on pace to outscore Red Bull today and keep their title hopes alive.
Perez down in 8th and made the wrong call with strategy. It's a disaster for him again today. I think we will see him in Las Vegas, but that could be it if he doesn't step it up.
George Russell having a good run in 3rd as well. It's been an up and down season for him and Mercedes as a whole, but it looks like they will settle for 3rd in the title standings.
Future teammates in 4th and 5th. We just got the news this weekend that Carlos Sainz will move to Aston Martin next year. Ted had some news on that move for us.
Yeah, guys, it really looked like Carlos was gearing up to sign with Red Bull, but it sounds like there was a change of plans on both sides. Right at the last minute, Tsunoda and Lawson are in a head-to-head fight for a Red Bull seat, it appears now, with the clear advantage to Tsunoda so far.
There we see Tsunoda in 13th, while Lawson runs 19th after choosing the wrong strategy like a few others today.
No pressure on Lawson, though. No matter what he will be in a car next year, he'll be in that car if Tsunoda gets the Red Bull promotion, which I believe he has earned.
Casper Ackermann runs 18th, a bit of a disappointing tail end to his final season, but he is enjoying it week by week.
Liam Lawson, Lance Stroll, the last 2 running cars. Lawson, the worst possible strategy, pitting early in the race for that wet tire, and then, of course, going back to the inters now as we got some battles right in front of us. Perez, Gasly trying to get after it now. These two had a battle recently in Coda that went right down to the wire on that last lap. Now, Gasly can't quite make a move, and I couldn't make a move on Lando Norris as well as we slide there on the exit of that final turn. We continue, though, putting pressure on these guys. We know we've got pace to get going forward. Hamilton putting a gap between Perez and himself. Perez seems to be struggling more than anybody on the older compound there with the inters now, but Pierre Gasly, what can he do on the run into turn 1, lap 30? He's making a move again to the outside of the Mexican driver. The Frenchman on the right going forward, but he can't quite complete the pass. Perez gonna fight back, his career on the line, and it's not been looking good. 2 wins early in the season. It's been a disaster ever since now. Perez back to the right side of Gasly on the run into turn 4. Near contact, Norris misses the apex. Here's my opportunity. Up the inside, we'll get the job done. Gasly gets through on Perez. We get through on Lando Norris into P10, looking for P9 from Perez. It's not going to take long. Look at the run to the back of the Red Bull. We found ourselves battling this Red Bull driver many times in recent races, and here's another one. It was a late move up the inside. We'll get the job done around the outside. He's going to fight back, though. He's got to run, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to be able to get the job done right here in the right-hander. Job complete. Another position gained into P9. What can we do with Pierre Gasly? The rain has stopped as well. That's going to be an interesting one. We've got over 5 laps to go, and the rain has stopped. When does the track dry up? Is the main question. Lap 31 of 36, and you can see already the conditions are improving as the lap goes on.
Okay, if you want, we think we can pit for a dry tyre next lap. Do you think you will have the pace to make up the time?
Yes, definitely, 100%. So we are going to box for a dry tire, but what's the rest of the field going to do? We're not pitting this lap, we're going to pit next lap. So we come to a whole lap later, and you can see the conditions have dramatically improved. It is definitely time for a dry tire. Lando Norris looking for an overtake on Sergio Perez now as we've got trouble. George Russell with a mechanical failure. It's going to be day over for the British driver now who was fighting for a podium with Carlos Sainz. Day done for George Russell. That's an additional point for us as we move up into P8 now, but we're going to be boxing at the end of this lap. That's going to give us just 4 laps, really 3 full laps in, well, a half. We're going to have to try and get these softs up to temperature. Is this the right move or not is the big question. We actually have a late turn in, so that doesn't help our situation. We get the softs on, just wanting to try something. I do believe I've got enough pace to where we can go back up there and repass, of course, Sergio Perez and Lando Norris and go get after Pierre Gasly as we rejoin in P15 just in front of Casper Ackermann. What kind of pace do we have? It's only going to be 3 complete laps laps now to try and work our way forward. Our pace was incredible. We were flying right off the bat as we come to 3 laps to go, reeling in Devin Butler here for P14, having a decent run in that kick Sauber that struggled oh so much lately. We'll go around the outside of him and take the position, but we're 7 seconds behind Alex Albon, but you can see how quickly it's coming down. It's already a full second down. We set the fastest lap, but there's only 2 laps to go, and now I'm realizing we may have made a mistake. I think we should have stayed out because you can see the gap is quite significant to the cars in front. We're to the back of Alex Albon, but we've got to find a way around this traffic. We'll sneak to the left side, go the long way around him, and the same for Valtteri Bottas. They can't quite get on the power. We're still going to get points. I can see, Ocon's right here, and then Tsunoda's right there for P10, so we'll still be able to score points. But I think we've made a mistake in terms of we're going to finish worse than what we were running when we pitted. Starting the final lap, now we take a warning for exceeding track limits, but we're running down Yuki Tsunoda for P9. Perez about 5 seconds up the road. Charles Leclerc comes through to win over Max Verstappen. It'll be 2 Ferraris on the podium. Verstappen's P2 will not be enough for Red Bull as Perez runs P8. We pass Tsunoda, but Perez is not going to put up enough of a performance to where Ferrari, they will gain in the constructors. Not a lot, but they are going to gain, and that's going to be crucial coming into the final 3 races. And unfortunately, you can see we made the wrong call. We should have just stayed out because we would have been about P6 or P7, and instead we're going to end up P9 here as we come to the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix. The wrong call. It's a rookie mistake. That was on me saying we could have the pace, and we end up P9 still. Nonetheless, 2 points to our name. One heck of a day here in Brazil. Sorry guys, that's on me. I thought it would be quicker and thought we had more time. But still, we can't hang our head low. P9, a great result.
We've witnessed some great battles around the historic curves of Interlagos today, and they've taken a fantastic win.
So Charles Leclerc on the top step of the podium. It took him so much of this season to actually get a win, and now that he's done it, he has been absolutely on form. He's looking great going into next season, and of course he's going to be going up alongside Lewis Hamilton. That's going to be exciting to watch, and just what can Ferrari do going into next season as they'll celebrate on the podium here with both of their drivers. Carlos Sainz, of course, his future is solidified at Aston Martin. That's going to be exciting in itself. Aston Martin's got Adrian Newey coming next season. They're already looking great in the R&D. Sainz is not really losing out losing his ride at Ferrari, I don't think. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. Could he be even a title contender in 2025? It's going to be an exciting season. Fernando Alonso manages P4, a great result for him again, as we will take a look, of course, at the driver's standings. Tsunoda manages P10. He does get a point out of it now as he continues to say, hey, I belong in a Red Bull car. There you see the standings now. We're P11, tied with Lance Stroll in the constructors. That's the big thing. Ferrari is back by 41 points with 3 races to go. Next episode at Las Vegas. Does Perez keep his ride for one more week or not? We'll find out in the next one. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching and have a great day.